What's going on, guys? Hit pause here with a quick tutorial on how to get a character, meaning like an AI thing, to throw a projectile as opposed to just straight up spawning it. So let me go through here real quick and show what's going on in Max. As you can see, what I have done is I've given her a pumpkin, okay? And she's going to throw them down and they'll explode. I don't have anything done except for the animation of her throwing the pumpkin, okay? And you'll notice that the pumpkin stops at a certain point. Okay, so pretty much right here is when I'm going to spawn a pumpkin in its place, okay? And I just gave it a little bit of extra trail out just so that any motion can be gone, okay? So I know I'm not the greatest animator or anything like that, but I do my best, and I'm getting better and faster. It didn't take me very long to do this. I had some issues with the IK on it, but total side story. So I have brought her in, and she now has a pumpkin bone, because what I did do was I took the pumpkin. Let's go ahead here and go back to the skin mode. If you take a look at the hierarchy, the pumpkin is actually now linked to the pelvis, and what I did was when I exported her, I actually exported everything, including the pumpkin. So the pumpkin itself is actually acting as a bone now, alright? And it's just, I'm using it as the bone. Because remember, a bone can be anything, it doesn't matter. All we care about is its transform, right? We don't care about what visually is, whether or not it's a bone type object or a mesh or anything. It doesn't really matter. So once I brought it in here, you can see we have the animation, and if I want to, I can add a preview asset here. I think I called it Jack Off Lantern. Yes, I did. Damn it. There we go. Jack-o'-lantern. There you can see, there it is in her hand now. Remember, this is just a preview. This isn't doing us any good. Now what I've done is I zoomed way into the point on the animation, because you can mouse wheel here, by the way. I scrubbed the animation to the point where she was just letting it go. Then I zoomed in. Okay, and then tuned it. Can I move this left and right? Grab. Oh, I grabbed this. Okay. So then I zoomed in and I tuned it. So it's still got a little bit more motion coming out. I may need to do it a little bit earlier. So I'm kind of thinking about right here is when I want to actually spawn the pumpkin. So I'm going to move that right there. Now when I created the anim notify, all you do is just right click, add notify. Now if you want them to just be automatically, hey, play particle effect, play sound, just pick one of these and it'll give you actually the options up here. However, in this case, I went new notify and then it let me name it, which gave me the notify of spawn pumpkin. Okay. Now, if I close this down and I go to her animation blueprint, the same thing is here. Like if I go to animations, witch drop pumpkin, you can see the spawn pumpkin is still there, but I don't have the preview anymore. Okay. You can see I got a few screw ups in the animation. She brings her hand back through her leg right there. Okay, but not that big of a deal. She's going to be basically from this view way up here. You're not going to really be able to see that or anything like that. So the main thing was that she stretch out, okay, so that, you know, it's very obvious. And the hand is a little funky, but I don't really like it. But she's kind of just, you know, dropping this pumpkin on your head. So I can fix the animation anytime I want. The fact is what's important is this. So we go to the graph, and we want to go to the event graph here. And I don't have anything for her yet, nothing. Okay, she's literally got this fly animation, and then she's got the throw the pumpkin test. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to type spawn pumpkin, and that will give me anim notify spawn pumpkin. So at this point I can say, hey, hello, spawn pumpkin, right? And as soon as it gets to that point in the animation, it'll throw this string out for me. So this now can be any code I want. But first, I need to give her the ability to be able to play this animation, in which I want to use an anim montage, okay? Because it's the easiest and fastest and best way to just play an animation and have a little bit of control over it. So what we do is we go create asset, we go anim montage, and I'm going to keep it in the anims folder here, and I'm going to call this witch drop pumpkin montage, and we hit the okie doke. Okay, and all I do is take the animation, which is the green one here. You can always drag this out so you can see, and just throw it on here. Okay. Now what I want to do is, these slots here are saved per skeleton, but I actually want to kind of split her up just in case I do want to do some upper body, maybe change her head or something like that. I never really know. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and pause this, is we're going to open up and we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a new slot, add slot, and this will be upper, actually we'll just call this full body. Okay, so full body here, and for this particular montage we're going to say full body. Now later on down the road I can add an upper body, and I could have just used default for upper body. I just want to illustrate that you can in fact do this, and it's not going to come into play in this one in particular, but it will come into play like in other stuff. So all we need to do is come here and type slot and just scroll it up and say slot, default slot, but then we can pick which slot we want to use, and we're going to use the default here. And because I'm not doing anything else, I can merely tie the source into it, the source being literally just the animation of her doing this flying motion. Okay, and that's all I need to do. Compile. Okay, so when we spawn the pumpkin, what I want to do is I want to tell her to do the spawning of the pumpkin. So I'm just going to run a callback to the blueprint here, because her over here is where I have a lot of the other the stuff here, right? So I can pick up like the bone or the socket or whatnot. And remember, actually I didn't show you guys this, but this is just a simple curve edited animation that yeah, don't worry about that error, something different. See how she moves up and down? Get out of here, you howler. So she moves up and down and kind of rotates, and that's just so that no matter where she goes, she's got this kind of very floaty motion going on to the whole thing. Okay, and that is literally just a very simple timeline here with two curves, one for movement and one for rotation. So she rocks back and forth in a very slow arc, but she also moves up and down. Okay, so she goes up and below, and it ends up coming back, and the values always peak at 1. Okay, you can see time 2, value 1 here, value 1. That way I can give it a an amount. How far do I want her to move up and down? So in this case I'm letting her go about 17 units. And rotation, how much do I want it to rotate? So I can tune this up and down, and keeping these as a 0 to 1 scale in your values just gives you like a it makes you control just the curve and not worry about the values, because it's like, oh, you know, I want her to go up and down higher. Now I got to come in here and I got to click this and I got to move it up, and then I got to fix the goddamn tangents and all that crap. Nah, get a clean curve, do it from 0 to 1 or -1. Down here you can see the value is -1 because I want her to come up and then go back past and come back down. Okay, so just real simple here. And I did store her start location, because if you're constantly getting her relative location, the fact that these are not actually reliable, that they don't play a very specific number of frames every time, if you do add local rotation or add local offset or something like that, what will happen is if she's moving up and down, she'll go up and down and up and down, and then it'll skip a frame and it won't go down as far, and it'll skip another frame, and you'll get this. Okay, just over time, eventually in about 20 minutes she's gonna be way up there, you know, and that's the inherent thing. So you always want to do it based on like a set value, not like a constantly read value. So on begin play I get the, and she's all linked to the broom. Okay, so notice that there's a mesh here that's empty. You can't link this to anything else, it won't let you. So I added a new skeletal mesh for her and just kept this one empty, and that way wherever the broom goes, she goes. Okay, so you can see she's linked to the broom, the hat's linked to her, down the chain, yada yada yada, right? So that's just, you can kind of ignore that. That's just to get her to rock up and down. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get her a custom event. This will have to be set to multiplayer, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. Spawn pumpkin. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we'll get the witch, and we need to find out where is the pumpkin at this moment. So get socket transform, And we'll say world, I think, is fine, and we're going to call this b underscore pumpkin. Okay, because if we look at our skeleton, that is the name of the bone, b underscore pumpkin. Okay, so it can be the name of a bone or the name of a socket. Name of the socket or bone to get the transform from. So you don't have to always add a socket to everything. Okay, and like I said, I'm not sure if world space is going to be correct. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spawn an actor from class, but I don't have one yet. So let's go ahead and make one. Let's say I'll do it in blueprints. So we'll go new blueprint class. We'll be an actor. Don't need anything to it. I'll just call it pumpkin BP. Okay. We'll come here. We'll add a static mesh. We'll choose pumpkin or jack off lantern here. Okay. And that's all I need. Let's say it's movable. He doesn't, I don't think it has a collision. Let me check that really quick. This is going to be important. There's no collision here. So let's go ahead and add a sphere simplified collision to it. Okay, so now it can collide, and that should allow it now to be able to simulate physics. It will not allow you to simulate physics without collision, by the way. Okay, so now we can simulate physics. Alright, and we'll hit compile, and we will go which BP, and the question is can I cannot get the velocity of the socket. I can't, but we'll see what we get anyway. We may have to fake that. It would be nice if I could receive the velocity of it. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. I want to spawn actor from class. Right click, spawn actor from class. And this is going to be Pump King. If you're a Terraria fan, you know who that is. Spawn pumpkin. Instigator will be the witch, so we know who sent it. Owner, we don't really need to worry about that. Default collision handling override. Always spawn, ignore collisions. Try to adjust location, but always spawn. Always spawn, ignore collisions. We'll do that for now. However, there's another thing that I need to do here. I need to add a static mesh, and that will be the jack-o'-lantern, and that's going to get socketed to the witch, and what it's going to do is going to be based on that pumpkin bone, which, and then I make sure everything's zeroed out here, which it is already, so you can see that it's going to be sat right here, but it is facing the wrong way. So considering that, what I want to do really quick is I want to go ahead and make a dupe of the pumpkin, because since I'm using it as the bone, I don't have anything there. If I move it away, I won't be able to realign something. So I want to export the pumpkin in its correct position. So let's go 0, 0, 0, and then E, and 0, 0, 0. Okay, and then we will export that, and let's come here to the jack-o'-lantern. Okay, and before I delete it, let's re-import. Okay, see, that turned it to its side, and when I come here, you can see it's now facing forward, which matches, if I activate animation mode here, matches what we got going on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, remember it was linked to everything when I if you're wondering why the pumpkin was down here, it's because this was linked, and when I duplicated it, the pelvis is moved down, right? So hopefully that doesn't throw anybody for the loop. So we have this pumpkin here, and what we want to do is we want to say set hidden in game. So there's a couple of things that I want to do to the pumpkin. First off, is going to be that it's not going to be visible at all times. So it's hidden in game. So what I need to do is I need to go back here to the animation. And let's go back to the drop pumpkin animation. And there's a moment where she picks up the pumpkin. Okay, it's not there, but what she's going to do is as she leans back, it's going to appear, and then she's going to throw it. Now we can do a cool material transition on it appearing. That's not going to be that big of a deal. But what I want to do is at the very moment that she actually, let's scroll in here, the very moment that she actually makes contact with it, which will be at frame 20, right here, I am going to create a new notify. It's going to be new notify here. And this one will be, see, I should have said spawn pumpkin here and then drop pumpkin there, right? But we'll call this unhide pumpkin. Okay, so that's going to be unhide pumpkin, and then we'll make sure we save that. All right, and then we come back to the graph, and we'll just type unhide pumpkin here, and we'll be ready to go when we need to. So I'm going to come back here to the event graph. So I spawned the actor on spawn pumpkin, right? Let's do a new custom event. Add custom event. This will be unhide pumpkin. And what we'll do is we'll take the jack-o'-lantern and we will set, for now, hidden in-game, and that will be unhidden. Okay? So this jack-o'-lantern, and again, the other thing is I don't want this thing colliding from her, so let's go and just say no collision, okay? And we'll compile that just so it gets set, and I don't have to worry about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this, and this will be actually the very first thing that we do. Here is, we're going to insert that in there, and we will set this to be hidden again. So it'll unhide at the unhide pumpkin part, and then as soon as she throws it, this one will get hidden and be replaced with the spawned one, which will fly down to physics, and then we'll have more behavior in here for when this thing hits something. It will explode, cause damage to anybody around it, yada yada yada. It will go down the chain and everything will work. It will, and we will have no problems even once. Everything's going to go perfectly smooth like everything in life always does. So I'm going to move her over here, and we're not quite ready yet. So she has got spawn pumpkin and unhide pumpkin. So let's go to her animation blueprint, and what we're going to do is not on update animation because that's on tick. We're going to do initialize animation, and we're going to pull get pawn owner over here, and we're going to cast to which BP, which should pretty much always work, and then we'll promote that to a variable so that we have access to it later and we never have to worry about it again. So we're going to call this which underscore char for which character. We'll hit compile so it goes through the system, and we can get rid of this now. And now we can hold control, drag this up, and we can say unhide pumpkin, and we can say spawn pumpkin. Okay, so when we unhide and when we spawn, now we do it in the other order, so let's be a little bit organized here. And that's really all we need to do here. Okay, we're just going to tell the witch blueprint to do the work, right? And this kind of thing here is not replicable or anything like that, but when we get over to here, we can say, you know, hey, run on server, multicast, whatever. I don't want to lead anybody down the wrong track here, so I'm not going to even guess as to what it is. I have a multiplayer programmer who will tell me what the real thing is, and I'll ask him, and if anybody's interested, I'll try to maybe make another amending video there for trying to figure it out. Okay, so we now know what happens when it happens, but she's not going to do it because we haven't told her to do anything yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another custom event, And this is going to need more behavior to it because I don't want her just throwing them at all times. I want her to wait until she's over your head, right? But we're going to call this pumpkin attack. Okay? And the pumpkin attack is essentially going to play the montage. Oh, sorry. Get anim instance. Now, since we are going to constantly have to do this, well, we don't really need to worry about it. We can just do it. But if you're doing this a lot, we'll say if the montage is playing, if you're doing this a lot, I would say on begin play that you store this, promote this to a variable and store it and call this animBP or anim instance class or whatever. But what we want to do is we want to check if the montage is playing, because we're also going to come montage here and we'll say montage play. Now the reason I don't just do montage play is because if you play a montage that is already playing, it will just restart it over and over and over again. This is especially true on tick. It'll actually look like your montage isn't playing, but it is in fact playing. It's just rapid firing the very first frame over and over and over again. So it actually looks like all your animations stop working. In fact, it is working. It's just doing it over and over again. By putting in a check to see if it's already playing, what we can do is, and again we need a branch for that, just hold B. You can click anywhere. As long as you don't do like this, then you got to type branch. Okay. If you don't hold any, if you're not dragging off of anything, right? You can just hold B and click. And we'll plug this in. And we only want to play this montage if the montage isn't playing. If it is playing, don't do it, right? And we need to tell what montage it is. So we called it which drop pumpkin montage, and we need that here too. Which drop pumpkin montage. Okay, so we compile that. So when we do the pumpkin attack, it will play the montage. Now the montage is probably, let's actually take a look just real quick. Let's see how long is the montage. It's actually 3.333 seconds. Okay, it's 100 frames. All right, at 30 frames a second, we're looking at 3.33 frames. So we can call it every 3 frames or something like that, and we'll just do it as a test here really quick. They have changed the way timers work, so it's kind of weird, but so what we're going to do is we're going to go set timer by event. No, we want to set timer by function. It's weird how they changed it, but set timer by function name. Okay, and it's going to be called pumpkin attack. Alright, and we're going to run it every 3 seconds, looping. Just for now, this is just a test. I just want to make sure that it works. And that's all we're going to do. Now what happens is, the way that they've done it now is that you actually, if you want to stop it, you actually have to promote this, and we'll call this pumpkin attack timer. Okay, because if I want to stop a timer, clear timer, sorry, clear timer by handle, it's looking for, like, you can't type the name in anymore. So if I ever want to clear the timer, we have to go through this rigmarole. I kind of liked it when you could clear the timer and just type in the name. Maybe there is a way to do that. Maybe if I unclick it. Nah, they changed it to this way, which is fine. And we can do a custom event, and we can say stop pumpkin attack. Now in this case it would throw another pumpkin if it's mid. Well, no, it won't. It'll stop this timer instantaneously, and this will never get fired again. Okay, so we can do a test now. We can see if it works. So after like 3 seconds, see, she goes in, it spawns, and then see, she drops pumpkin. And 3 more seconds, spawns and drops a pumpkin. Now the pumpkin's not really it's just dropping straight, right? So let's go ahead and give it an impulse, spawn pumpkin, and we'll say add impulse, add impulse static mesh, I suppose. It is named static mesh in the pumpkin BP. Yes, it is. Just want to make sure of that. And what we'll do is, since we've got the static mesh here, let's go ahead and get world rotation. Okay, and then let's get the forward vector. Alright. And what we'll do is we shall multiply this vector times float, and we will do a promote to variable. I fucking hate it when it does that. Sorry for swearing, but I really hate it when it does that shit. I really wish that, like, when you say promote to variable, that it doesn't put it up in this exact, like, referenced location. I wish that it put it wherever you left your cursor. Just a minor thing. Very minor thing. Minor things that irritate you. It's actually a big deal in the long run. Okay, so we're going to call this pumpkin throw strength. Okay, and we'll say compile, and we shall make that the impulse, and we'll say like I don't know, like 1500 or something. It's probably a little strong. So let's see. That is a little strong. Okay. So we want her to throw it up a little bit as well. So what we'll do is, that's the forward vector. It's pretty good in the forward vector, but let's also get the up vector. And let's go ahead and do the same thing. We'll multiply it. Okay, and then we'll add them together. And we could separate the strengths up and forward, should we want to. We'll call it lob, you know, outward strength and upward strength if we want to, but for now we'll just keep it the same. Maybe we can tune it this way. And we'll see. It should go up a little bit now. There we go. That feels better, right? I kind of feel like maybe like the... Yeah, that doesn't feel too bad, right? That feels pretty good. Bitch is tossing pumpkins. Yo, bitch, you're littering. What the fucking shit? Anybody ever told you not to litter? That is cool as shit. It worked out. I told you it would work perfectly and I didn't have to do anything. Right? It's working. Boing! Let's take a look how it looks up from here. Let's get a better shot. Here, let's go full screen and hit G. Yeah, that feels pretty natural, doesn't it? It's a little spotty. I think I could have it happen a little earlier. Right? I think it could be a hair earlier. I don't know. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's really not too bad. That one went right through the frickin' ground. It's working pretty good. If you had a better animation and, you know, I don't know. It's all right. It's all right. It's working fairly well. I just want to move it just a hair forward. So we'll go back to the animation here, and I'm going to zoom in real close. And let's say, let's go back to the I keep typing pumpkin. I should just stay consistent. I mean, it ain't bad where I put it, but I'll move it back just a little bit. But that's the cool thing, right? I can time it now just by moving this around. I mean, it felt pretty good already, to be honest. It's a little strong in the outward. The animation is a little slow is the problem. So what we'll do to fix it up, just to make it a little bit nicer, is I am going to go ahead and promote, and this will be pumpkin up strength. What the fuck is this variable? If you ever want to know where it is, you can say find references. It's actually not being used anywhere, so I can delete that variable. I don't know where that happened. I might have hit Control W or something on accident. Why can't I zoom out? Okay, there we go. Okay, so again, bit of a dick move that it does this. And we'll plug that in instead. So we'll keep the up strength the way it is, but I think I want the outward strength to be a little bit less. By a little bit, I mean kind of probably half. The up strength, let's see, I kind of, we'll try 1500 still and we'll get an idea for it. And then I can tune the animation to make it like she's a little bit more dramatic when she throws it. That feels okay. And she throws it kind of backwards, 'cause she's moving forwards, right? So if she wants to drop it forwards. Yeah, it doesn't feel too bad. I mean, the motion of the pumpkin, and the cool thing too is that if you notice, there's no like jerk at all whatsoever or like flash where the one pumpkin disappears and the new one spawns. It's fluid. It's perfectly fluid. It's pretty good. All right, last thing. Last thing is, I'm thinking I kind of want to give it a little bit of randomness to it, right? So it's, I mean, it's pretty good, and she's going to drop it at different times. And again, I'm going to need to run some code just to make sure as she's circling around you and stuff like that, that she crosses towards you. That's a whole different story of when she's going to do this. Right now, I'm just having her do it every couple seconds here, right? Which is as fast as I can actually do it because of the 3 seconds of the montage, and it won't play otherwise. So if I tried to play it after 2 seconds, it wouldn't play, and then it wouldn't play again for another 2 seconds. So it actually would be 4 seconds until the next one could play. If you, for instance, like see right here, like there's actually going to be times when she cannot do it because she missed it. She has to wait another 3 seconds. So I'm actually better off, if I want it to be as exactly when it can go the next time, I should type in a closer value, because like I said, if it misses the window of opportunity, right, it'll play this, but it'll be like, nah, it didn't go anywhere because it's still playing. Then we wait another 3 seconds, so that's 6 seconds. So she throws it, which takes 3 seconds, and then she waits 3 seconds. So that's the other thing you could do if you wanted to have that. You kind of need to factor in the time, right? Or if you want to say, you know, if you want to make it guaranteed that it happens on an interval, it has to be longer than the animation if you're doing this. And in a case like this, I have to have the animation finished, otherwise it's going to look jerky and weird. So we'll just say every 4 seconds she's going to throw it. She won't miss a beat this time. All right, so let's see. Like I said, I was kind of wanting to randomize it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do float times float, and what we'll do is we'll do a random float in range. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to stick that here, and what we'll do is we'll do like, say, like 0.8 to 1.2. all right, and that will make it so the up strength will be, and let's say 0.8, actually let's say maybe we want it to only go stronger than it was. Let's say 1 to 5, just out of curiosity, right? Let's just make sure that that works first. So every once in a while this thing should go get lobbed up like crazy. Right, so that's silly. So just for a slight bit of randomization, we'll say like anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2, and I'll do the same thing here. Gives it just a nice, very, very subtle amount. Okay, but remember, I always want it to be versus where the root mesh thing is here. All right, and remember, I'm not setting visibility, I'm setting hidden, so it still exists. Actually, yeah, it still exists. So, and we actually get the transform before we do. Well, no, we don't get the transform before we do it, but we know it's working. So if I were to set this thing to, by the way, there's a big difference here, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct. visibility. If you set visibility to be false, like it actually, like you can no longer like read where it is, because like I think it takes it out of the calculations. Don't quote me on that one, but I have seen issues where that happens. So hidden is just visual, and visibility I believe is whether or not it's being processed. Don't take that one with a grain of salt, but I think I might be right. Not entirely sure. So yeah, now we're randomizing that. We don't. I could do a little bit of right vector. Let's do a little bit of right vector work. So so we can get the right vector here. All right, and I'll use the throw. Well, okay. I'm gonna just randomize right vector entirely without giving it a value. It is going to be a very subtle amount. So it's going to be anywhere from, we'll say, like 50 to 75 or 50 to 70. Okay, and then all we need to do, actually I can just add a pin here. Boom, which is a nice thing. Don't have to do another vector add. Okay. So now it should go a little bit left and right, not a whole lot, because remember, when you're dealing with physics and forces, it is in fact you need very high values. So let's go ahead and increase this just so that we have we can make sure that it is in fact happening. So that one was fairly straight towards us. That one was a little bit to the left. That one landed here to the right, fairly subtle. That one went fairly more to the left. So in fact, 500 to 700 is probably, given the mass of the pumpkin, is probably actually good. 50 to 70 probably actually didn't even change it at all. But if we really want to make sure, 5,000 to 7,000. Let's really make sure that the right is going in the axis that we assume. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that that is working. Oh, by the way, I'm an idiot. It actually needs to be positive and negative, right? Because it can go left or right. 0 would go in the straight direction that it was going. It would come straight out, like from here, right? But I want it to go positive or negative. I was saying, hey, either 5,000 to the right or 7,000 to the right. That's not truly random. So now it should be able to go. And that one was fairly subtle. That one went way to the right, almost hit the werewolf. That one almost hit the werewolf. Then we should get one that goes to the left at some point. There we go. So see, you can see how randomized that is, and that is entirely too strong. So we'll say 500 by negative 500. And we'll give that a look, and then that'll end the video. Let's click, hit G. It's a little laggy while I'm moving around. There she is, littering like a litter bug. How about, wait, we forgot one thing, like a very critical thing. God damn it. Right? Come on now. Yeah. Actually, you know what? For funsies, and actually here, let's do this. Let's set the lifespan so that they go away after a little while. And we'll give it like 8 seconds of life. That way it doesn't get like, I don't span the screen, you know, like if you keep spawning them forever and you never get rid of them, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, there's no light in the one that's, oh, and the light wasn't attached, so I'm constantly spawning new lights. Hang on. Wait, what? The light's not attached. The light wasn't attached. There's no light in the one that's in her hands, by the way. Yeah, very cool. Now I'm spawning a bunch of shadow casting lights. Not a good idea. Okay, not a good idea, but I wanted to do it just to see how cool it would look. Until they come up with a better dynamic point light shadow that's like so cheap you can have thousands of them, I wouldn't do this at all. Plus it knocks out the subsurface. There we go. Now it's a little abrupt in the lighting on her, right? Click, it goes on. But it's still pretty cool. And the light's not orange enough, but look at it roll by. That's awesome. Look at this. Very, very cool. And then maybe after collision it could go do 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 boom, then it blows up, right? So it doesn't blow up on impact. Let it roll around on the ground for a little bit. I think that would be fairly interesting. There we go. Let's get one right at our face. Actually, here. Let's see if we can get one coming. Yeah, that's awesome. Very, very fun. Very, very fun. There it goes. There it goes. Oh, shit. Right? Oh, God. Right in our face. Very cool. And it feels very seamless. I'm looking at her throwing them. It feels very seamless. Aside from the light turning on, so basically what we want to do is probably, I would say, you know what, it might be a good idea, instead of having the pumpkin in her hand that becomes visible, that we spawn the pumpkin in her hand at that moment so that that's when the light comes on, and then we have the light grow in intensity so it's just like a soft turn on as she throws it. Then it starts lighting in the air, so like, you know, just a little bit after she releases it, it would be full intensity. And the lights do need to be yellow. And the cool thing too is that we shouldn't have too many of them. There should only be a few of them around. See, they do time out. And at that point could be when they explode. You know, and keeping in mind that she's going to be flying around. And the other cool thing too is that she's still moving up and down. So, and everything's lining up. Everything is just working. Right? So hopefully you guys found that fun as hell. I know I did. This was a very, very enjoyable thing because it worked out so well, you know. I didn't have too many issues. Everything that we did just made it fun. I do want to do one thing here because I don't like the animation that I gave him for Dracula here. I think it would be much cooler if he was laughing instead. And then we'll get one final look as I sign off. By the way, if you're in full screen and you want to hit play, it's Alt-P. Yeah, now he's laughing. Got the werewolf howling, we got the bats flapping, the giant's looking around like a dumb shit that he is. And the hottie up there is littering, but nobody's going to say anything because they want to fuck her. Or shoot her. You never know. It's just like life. So there we go. There's how to get a character to throw stuff. Alright, it's all part of the animation for the most part. We just hide and unhide the meshes. It'd be the same thing for shooting a bow and arrow. Right? You spawn an arrow at some point. There it goes, right in our face. And then if you want to, you know, and then at the moment, you know, that it gets released, you hide the arrow that's part of the animation, and then you spawn the projectile. You know, it's just a matter of timing for the most part. But it all works, you know. So this is HipPause signing off. Happy Halloween, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.